Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie, and one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
They say opposites attract. That's why the Sleep Number Smart Bed is the best bed for couples. You can each choose what's right for you whenever you like. You like a bed that feels firm but they want soft? Sleep Number does that. You want to sleep cooler while they like to feel warm? Sleep Number does that too. You have to feel it to believe it. Find the bed that's for both of you, only at a Sleep Number store. Sleep better together. J.D. Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in store. And now, Sleep Number Smart Beds starting at $999. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
In the Venmo payment itself, he says this should be Patrick's gas money.
That's what the Venmo payment actually says? This should be his gas money? Okay,
Yeah.
go on.
And then he goes on to criticize me for, you would think as a mother you would want something for your son. Surprising, not really. Too bad, Patrick's so disappointed. I told him that this is what we were going to do, and he was so excited about it.
This is the plaintiff, Nicole. She says the defendant is her ex-husband, and he agreed to put $2,000 towards the purchase of a car for their 16-year-old son. Her ex is trying to change the terms of the payment to her. He's the father, and he needs to live up to his promise to pay his fair share. She's suing for $1,900, the amount he still owes her. This is the defendant, Timothy. He says he told his ex-wife he would chip in $2,000 for the car, but told her he was unable to make the payment in one lump sum. She agreed to the deal. He paid his first installment of $100 to her. Then she turned around and filed this lawsuit against him. Bottom line, he's ready, willing, and able to pay $100 per month as agreed. He's accused of letting a son down. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $100 for the return of the refund given to the plaintiff.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Milian is presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Nicole, you are suing your ex-husband, Mr. Bonnet, for $1,900 that you say he owes you according to an agreement to help you finance a car for your son. Tell me what happened.
Well, back in October of last year, our son was turning 16 and going to be getting his driver's license, so it was time to, get him his first car. And I wanted to get him a newer car because it would have all of the safety features, and my ex-husband thought it would be smarter to get him a used car that could get banged around and everything. But he agreed, and I have it by text, that he would commit to pay $2,000 towards whatever car we end up getting for him.
Can I see that text?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We have very different opinions about what kind of car he should have as a first car, but you have the money, and my opinion doesn't really matter. So you make your own decision, and I'll contribute what I can when you buy a car. I was only asking so I can plan, sorry. And then his answer, figure $2,000 from me. If I don't have it when you buy a car, then if you front it, I will still pay you. If I can do better at the time, I'll give a little more. In other words, I'll commit to $2,000 and do better if possible. That's great. I really appreciate it. All right. So what happens? You end up buying a car how long after that?
We bought the car
was
April. I'm sorry. That text was October 1st.
Of 20 what?
2021.
Okay, and then you end up buying a car when?
October 11th.
All right, and you buy him a brand new car?
We did. I was thinking of getting him a car that was 2 or 3 years old, but the way that the used car market was
the
last year,
used car market exploded.
it didn't cost much more to get him a new car, so we figured it made just sense. So we got him a new car.
So you get him the car, and then you call him and you say, I got him the car. This is what I got him. And what does he say about the $2,000?
We don't really talk about it. Him repaying right away. I knew he couldn't afford to, repay right away, so we kind of let it go. And then in January is when I brought it up again. When you can at least start paying me back, and he agreed that he would pay $100 a month. Until
All right, so he pays the first $100, and then what happens?
The same day that he paid the first $100, he suggested that instead of him paying me the money back, that he would get a gas card for our son. His words were, instead of me giving you the money to put in your pocket, I'll get a gas card for our son and put $100 a month on that. And I said, no, the money was for paying me back for the money I fronted you for the car. And so he ended up depositing the first $100 by Venmo. And
so does that first $100 that he deposits by Venmo through that app, does that first $100 happen after he tries to do or before he tries to change?
Afterwards.
So you say, no, we're not going to do that.
Yes.
And then he pays the $100.
Can we just back up one second? In the Venmo payment itself, he says this should be Patrick's gas money.
That's what the Venmo payment actually says? This should be his gas money? Okay, go on.
And then he goes on to criticize me for, you would think as a mother you would want something for your son, surprising, not really, too bad, Patrick's so disappointed. I told him that this is what we were going to do, and he was so excited about it.
Wait, is that by text also?
Yes. That was on...
Can you get it back up? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's on January 12th.
So, Mr. Bonnet, can you tell me why it is that you're changing the deal, or according to you, did you always have a deal to pay for gas? I'm confused.
No, Your Honor. The deal was as she said.
Right.
It was all correct.
So why didn't you stick with the deal?
In the meantime of this event happening, I was in the process of wanting to take her to family court for unrelated circumstances with our agreement, and that's why I stopped paying after the $100 was because I thought we might just settle everything in the family court. My attorney suggested I just don't pay anything until we go to court.
Well, what happened with court?
So we ended up not going. All we did was do a virtual court to raise my child support, which was all legitimate. It was, I don't dispute.
To raise your child support?
To raise, yes.
Okay, so when you say, so you had not started a case against her. She started a case against you for yet something else about this. All right,
yes,
I got it.
Yes, that's what she likes to do. She likes to take me to court a lot.
She likes to take you to court.
Absolutely.
All right, did your child support get raised?
It did by law.
Okay, so if that happened, then what is she wrong about in taking you to court?
Divorce can be a very messy thing. The testimony continues.
Does she make a lot more than you do? Because she said you made that comment. What do you do for a living?
I'm an attorney.
There you go. What kind of an attorney? This is incredible.
It is. For exclusive footage you won't get anywhere else, check out the People's Court on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
The plaintiff says her ex-husband promised to contribute $2,000 toward their son's new car, and he's reneging on the deal. Now, the defendant says he agreed to pay the $2,000 off month by month, but his greedy ex-wife wants him to pay up in full, and that wasn't their deal. Let's listen.
She wasn't wrong to take me to court, and to be honest with you, she was very gratuitous by waiting a long time to do it.
Okay, how long had you not paid child support?
No, I've been paying it. We were just raising the amount because my salaries increased.
Okay. And is there a disparity in your salaries? Like, does she make a lot more than you do? Because she said you made that comment. What do you do for a living?
I'm an attorney.
There you go. What kind of an attorney?
Benefits law, 401k, pension plans.
Okay. Oh, sorry for driving off. Please deposit $100 a month Venmo as agreed. Thanks. Oh, don't worry. I intend to. And I want you to remember every month when you see it that could have been Patrick's gas money. All I'm doing is saving you $2,000 on your purchase. and it's going back into your pocket. I'm not benefiting Patrick one single bit with this. I only wish I had thought of this before we made the agreement. Well, he actually gets no benefit at all. Okay, and you say, if you want it to benefit Patrick, give me $2,000 now and I'll put it in his college fund. Compromise. And he says, you mean the college he doesn't want to go to? Are you kidding me? I'll decide how I benefit my son. Now, you feel that it shouldn't go to her because it goes in her pocket, but you know that this is something that not only you agreed to, but that it was considered by her before she paid for the car, that you'd be helping with $2,000. So tell me how this is any different than, you know, she's not going to let him starve. I think you aptly put it. Go ahead.
Yes, his attitude was, well, you would have gotten him a car anyway, so I'm not benefiting him. And I said, well, I also wouldn't let the kids starve. That doesn't mean that you don't have to pay for part of their support.
For child support,
yeah.
Right. It's pretty well put. Lawyer or not, it's pretty well put. So why wouldn't I hold your feet to the fire and make you do the exact thing you agreed you were going to do?
This was also not a signed contract. This was a text message. So my
so
thing
what?
is, where does
There's verbal contracts and they're completely enforceable, and you're admitting that you agreed to it. So this is what we call she has had detrimental reliance on this promise.
Right.
Okay, you promise that you're going to contribute. She relies on your promise by buying a car that takes that into consideration. She specifically says she's going to do that. Then she does, and then you renege on your agreement, which you agree is an agreement. All over the text and in my courtroom, you're agreeing that that was your agreement. You were just hoping to be able to benefit somehow by not paying her and then going to...
Not.
Well, no, you were, because you said you were. You said, my lawyer told me the best thing for me to do for me is to not pay the $100 and have it all handled in court. And so you go to court, your child support is raised, and what happens with this $2,000?
Those two court things were completely different. Like my court.
Well, you made them the same, though, when you decided to handle it all together. Remember how you told me that you and your lawyer decided it would be in your, but not Patrick's, your best interest, not to pay anything, and then let's figure out where all the chips fall. Well, the chips fell, didn't they? And the chips fell that your child support was raised, and now the chips are about to fall here in front of me, too, because you have agreed to pay a certain amount, and then you have not paid it, and not only are you not paying it, you have a counterclaim against her for $100.
But why is it so wrong to want to give the money to my son and not her?
I'm going to tell you why, because that wasn't your agreement. See, I'm not in this for what you should have done. I'm in this for what you did.
Right.
See, my job is not to decide what is the best thing for you or Patrick or your ex-wife. My job is to decide, is there a contract? How much is it for? And I'm going to enforce it. I am a referee calling the balls and the strikes. You made a deal, and I find it to be a deal. You've changed your mind on what you wish you had done. That's your problem. It's not my problem as the judge. I have to enforce the deal. I don't get to say, oh, that's not the deal he likes best now. I don't do that, and you don't do that either. A deal is a deal is a deal. And when you say, well, it wasn't in writing, it's right in your text, so I can see that the proof that, and you admit that that was your deal, and she relied on it when she bought the car. So no, you have to stick with your deal, and I'm finding in her favor in the amount of the $1,900, and this $100 that you say you want back, and your countersuit. Just explain to me why I would ever order her to pay you $100 back.
So I could give it to my son, which was my intention all along.
I mean, no, that wasn't your intention
It really
all along.
was.
That's your intention now.
It has.
No,
it always has.
no. Your son is how old?
It's in the text.
How old is your son? No, it's in the text afterwards. When you say it was your intention all along, that is a lie. It wasn't your intention all along. It became your intention when she then takes you to court, well after she should have, because she was pretty patient about it, gets the child support raised, and now you're mad. All right. Ruling in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of the $1,900, 0 on the counterclaim.
All right, both sides, hold on, please.
So it was a bad day for the defendant here in the People's Court. Let's see what he feels about what the judge just decided. Timothy, let me ask you, what's your reaction to the judge's decision?
Well, obviously, it's not what I was hoping for, but I do congratulate the plaintiff. And to be honest, it's not going to be the first time I'm in this situation. It won't be the last. And I just know that the judgment day is coming, and she will one day answer for all the things she needs to answer for. And I just hope I'm still around when that day comes.
Let me ask you, how did you come to that agreement of $2,000?
It was just what I felt at the time that I would be able to financially contribute. I don't make a whole lot of money, but I did. She said I never had to contribute anything. It was my choice. and I made the choice to contribute $2,000 to a car that I didn't approve of because I never thought it should have been brand new.
Well, I gather this is another time that you've been brought into court. How does it work for you? If she brings you into court many times, do you win ever, or does she always prevail?
Well, as you know, she's an attorney, so she knows the business a lot more than me, so I don't know if I'll ever win, but maybe one day.
All right, well, good luck to you. It wasn't a good day for you today, though.
Not
here in
today,
the
but that's
People's
all right.
Court. Thank you very much. All right. Well, the plaintiff prevailed again. Let's see how she, when I say again, I meant in a court against the defendant. Let's see how she responds. Nicole, welcome to the People's Court. Turned out to be a good day for you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, yes, and I'm definitely happy to have won.
I'm sure you are. Let me ask you, how did you come up with this figure of $2,000? I mean, you could have, doesn't matter. You didn't know what the price of the car was going to be, did you?
No, but I was taking into account what he was going to contribute, what my husband was going to contribute, and what I was able to take out as a loan, and I put all that money together when I was shopping for a car for my son.
All right. So do you feel now vindicated and relieved that you're going to get it to $2,000 after all?
Yes, very relieved.
All right. So will this end your court battles with your husband or your ex-husband, or is it going to continue to keep going? What do you think?
Well, the court battles were me taking him to court to have his salary garnished because he wasn't paying child support, and then me taking him to court to increase the child support after 11 years because of his increased salary. It's not like I'm bringing frivolous lawsuits all the time. Those are the only two other times I brought him to court.
All right. Well, let's hope this brings it to an end for your sake, okay?
Thank you very much.
Good enough. Thank you, ma'am. And that'll do it.
I mean, really, Doug, this is as simple as they made a deal and he has to abide by it. He can't find clever ways of changing the deal. And if the deal is to pay her in a timely fashion, you can't string it out over a long period of time because it's more convenient for you. That is simply the law.
Marilyn, why can't you award the maximum a litigant's state allows? Or can you?
Of course I can. I mean, it depends on what a person sues for. You're supposed to sue for what you're out. Now, a lot of times litigants will just beef it up in order to make it the state max.
You have to separate the wheat from the chaff and figure out where the facts really lead you.
And there have been times where someone's asked for the max and I've given them the max.
Right. And by the way,
you just have to be able to prove that you're entitled to it somehow.
Right. And small claims jurisdiction varies from state to state. We have 50 states and we have like 50 different rules. They run from a $2,500 maximum to like $25,000 maximum,
sure,
depending on what state you're in and a few other variables that are included, right?
Right. And then sometimes either you as the litigant or an attorney on your behalf might decide that it's smarter for you to go to the lower court, even if you're out more, because the rules are different, or you may decide, I don't need a lawyer, and I don't want to have to pay a lawyer. It's not worth it to me, so I'm just going to litigate this myself and keep it in small claims.
Right.
So there's strategic reasons.
You might have a debt that somebody owes you that's $6,000, and your small claims jurisdiction is capped at $5,000. But you're sitting there going, I think I can win this case and get my money back, but if I go to the higher court, I'm going to have to hire a lawyer.
And it's going to be a lot more than $1,000.
They'll be having discovery depositions, all kinds of expensive processes that maybe aren't going to happen in the lower court. And I'm thinking, better to just try
to just sue for the $5,000. Yeah, so there's always strategic reasons that might take you one.
That from time to time.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. When you use Angie for your home projects, you know all your jobs will be done well. Roof repair? Done well. Kitchen sink install? Done well. Deck upgrades? Done well. Electrical upgrade? Done well. Angie's been connecting homeowners with skilled pros for nearly 30 years, so we know the difference between done and done well. Hire high-quality, certified pros at Angie.com.
This is the plaintiff, Killeen Stemple. She says her beloved dog Jasper was savagely attacked by the defendant's dog, and the uncaring dog owner refuses to pay her vet bills. The defendant's dog's a menace to the neighborhood, who should be muzzled. He's clearly aggressive, and the defendant needs to pay her the $2,400 she says she's owed. This is the defendant, Robert Frasca Jr. He says he's had issues with the plaintiff's dog before, and so have other people in the neighborhood. The dog isn't trained. It goes after and antagonizes other dogs and is known to be ferocious. Bottom line, the plaintiff entered his property and he's not paying this woman 1 red cent. He's accused of having vicious propensities.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says that her dog Jasper was savagely attacked by the defendant's dog, and she wants him to pay up. But the defendant says the plaintiff's dog had trouble in the neighborhood before because he's untrained and antagonizes other dogs. It's the case of dog wars.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
All right, Ms. Stemple, you are suing Mr. Frasca for vet bills and pain and suffering based on the fact that, according to you, his dog attacked your dog. All right, let me hear from you first, Ms. Stemple. What happened?
I had hired a dog sitter. I was going away for Easter with my son and his wife up to my mom's house. And Easter morning, we were, making breakfast and preparing Easter dinner. And I noticed there had been a phone call that I missed, so I played it back. And it was the Cape Coral Police Department notifying me that my dog had been involved in an incident. So I text the dog sitter immediately, and I just said, "Is everything okay? I've gotten a call from the city." And she called me right back, and she said, Jasper was going to go out for a walk, and there was a dog, one of the dogs from the neighborhood attacked him while he was still in the driveway.
In whose driveway?
My own,
okay.
My driveway.
Go on.
So I said, "Is he okay?" And she said, "I'm pulling into the emergency vet hospital now." She said, "I'm hoping that he's better than he looks." And I said, "Okay, I'll call my son to meet you there." And she said her husband, Anthony, had stayed at my house with my other dog. And I said, "All right." And we packed up and we headed back down.
So no Easter dinner?
No Easter dinner.
Okay. So you head back down, and what happens?
I called the Blue Pearl Emergency Animal Hospital, and they said that they didn't have a lot of information, that they had put Jasper on morphine to try to ease his pain. I got back to my house, and my neighbor came out, and as I was headed into the house, and he said, "Have you seen him yet?" And I said, "No." I said, "Did you see him?" And he said, "Yes." He said, "I heard it, looked out the window," and he said it was horrible. I went through the garage and grabbed a shovel.
And then when did you see your dog?
I didn't get to see him until midnight that night.
And so you went at midnight to the emergency hospital?
Yes, I called them and they said they wouldn't have any information. He was going to have to go under surgery. So they said, "Call back at 7:30. I called back at 7:30 and they said, "Call back at 9:30, which I did. And at 9:30, they said he's still in a procedure and the doctor will call you back as soon as she's finished. So she called me back around 10:30 that night and said that, told me the extent of his injuries and what she had done, and said I could pick him up, which was at midnight.
What kind of dog is Jasper?
Jasper's a mini schnauzer.
So what did they do at the vet? I see stitches.
Yeah, he had on his leg there, she said that was the secondary wound. It was ripped open from underneath his armpit up to his shoulder. So they went in and they had to stitch that up. They put a drain in his leg.
When was the first time that you spoke to the defendant?
The first time I spoke to the defendant was when I got back to my house right after talking to the dog sitter. I said to my son, I want to, talk to...
Did you know him before this or no?
I didn't know his name at that time. There had been an incident prior to this, but we didn't speak during that incident.
Okay, wait, what do you mean there had been an incident prior to this? What do you mean by that?
I was walking by his house and I saw the defendant and realized that's where he lived. I didn't know that before that. And as I started to walk by, I looked down and the dog was crouched in a crouching position and just bolted out into the road and grabbed Jasper by the side of his
This was a different time? Wait,
I'm
I'm sorry, stop. This is a different time prior?
Yes.
And what was the dog doing loose that time?
It was on his own property. So I think that the dogs in Cape Coral can be loose on their own property, but not on the road.
Let me hear from you, Mr. Frasca.
Okay, how are you, ma'am?
Fine, how are you?
Let's go to the first incident first, where she was walking down the street. The dog was barking. It came onto my mailbox on the grass, and my dog ran after it because it was barking at her. And that's what dogs do. So I ran and I grabbed my dog.
Right, but not well-mannered dogs that don't, like when you say, I guess you don't have a fence, right? So if your dog responds to your commands, then you could command it not to do that. But how did the plaintiff's dog threaten your dog? It barked?
Ferociously barking at her.
Okay, so what happened in that event? Was there ever, there wasn't a hospital visit or a doctor's visit?
No.
Or everything was kind of stopped? Do you have the dog walker who was there? Do you have that dog walker ready to testify?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, because you weren't there, so I want to hear from the dog walker.
But, ma'am, that was two different things, though.
Oh, I know. I want to talk about the one that's in front of me, which is where the dog walker was. So let me...
Okay, that's not what we were just discussing, though.
Yeah, I know. It's in a trial, a judge moves forward. Okay, let me hear from you, Mr. Oakes. What happened in the case that's in front of me right now when you were dog walking?
My wife and I, she's the dog walker. I was with her. She's working right now, so she can't come on, but I was with her the whole time and stayed with Jasper throughout the process. We were getting ready. We left the house, got the dog. We were walking Jasper, got to roughly the end of the driveway. The
end of whose driveway?
The owner's, Jasper's mom's driveway.
Okay, Ms. Stemple, go ahead.
Correct. So we got to the end of the driveway. There were two dogs, two young ladies, little kids, and a woman about a driveway away. Jasper, we got to the end. Jasper saw a brown dog that he had known. The brown dog walked up to Jasper. They meet, and within 1 second, the pit bull, which is the defendant's dog, jumped on Jasper's face, just grabbed his face.
Was Jasper and the brown dog, were they doing anything?
They hadn't even gotten to each other yet.
Were they barking?
No noise, no nothing. Just they were getting to
They were going to smell each other.
The usual sniffings.
So the two dogs go to smell each other, and then is the pit bull on a leash?
I know at the point that the pit bull was attacking the Jasper, there was the leash was just flapping.
Okay, I got
it. That I know, and I don't know why.
How many stitches did Jasper get, Ms. Stemple?
I don't have the exact amount of stitches, but if you can imagine a flap that goes from the corner of the mouth up to the ear and into the eye, that was all stitched.
All right, so let me hear from you, Mr. Frasca. Actually, you weren't there. Your daughter was walking. Is your daughter available to testify?
Yes, ma'am, she is.
Okay, let's get her in and let me hear from her. Okay, could you raise your right hand, please?
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Okay, what's your name?
Chelsea Frasca.
Okay, Ms. Frasca, who were you walking the dogs with?
My 5- and 6-year-old daughters.
Okay, and who was holding on to the dogs?
For the walk up the street, my 6-year-old was holding my dad's dog, and I was holding my dog, which is the brown dog in question.
Okay, what kind of dog is the brown dog?
She is a Pitsky, so she's pit bull and half husky.
Okay, so then what happens? Tell me what happens.
So we're walking down the street with the two dogs. My 5-year-old's taking pictures, as she likes to do. So I get to the end of the street. I go to turn around to come back down to my house to get the kids ready for dinner and everything. And I see Jasper walking out of his driveway. So I stop my daughter. I switch leashes with her. So I now have my dad's dog, Remy.
Why did you switch leashes?
Just because we don't normally walk her, so I wanted to be rather safe than sorry. And I know my dad had said something before about little dogs antagonizing his dog, and it made him uncomfortable, and said that, he just would rather a tighter grip on the leash if we walked them that day.
Okay.
Cool. So I switched leashes just because I've raised dogs my entire life, namely pit bulls. And I switched leashes. I grabbed the leash. I did lock the leash. It was a retractable leash, so I locked the leash. And my 6-year-old lets my dog, which is Hennessy, run to Jasper. They just start sniffing each other, and they don't act aggressive in any way. Jasper looks up, sees me and Remy, the pit bull.
And you're 3 driveways away.
Yes.
Okay, which is how many feet away?
Maybe 20, not even 20 feet.
Okay, and what happens?
As soon as Jasper starts barking at Remy, I go to lock in the leash. As soon as she felt me tighten the leash, that's when she's seen the kids around Jasper barking and my dog around Jasper barking. So she takes off to that area.
Okay, stop. What does the phrase takes off means? You lost control of the dog?
No, I had the leash in my hand the entire time.
So how did she take off?
As I'm locking in her leash, I wasn't quite grounded, paying attention. She takes off running. And
I'm sorry, stop. I need to picture it. She takes off running. So did the leash come out of your hand?
No, the leash never left my hand.
So did you run with the dog?
Yes, I ran with the dog.
So you lost control of the dog. The dog was controlling you, right? Because all of a sudden 3 driveways get crossed and this happens to someone else's dog, right?
Right.
Right. Okay. Mr. Frasca, did you ever have any conversations with Ms. Stempel after this happened regarding paying for the damages?
She had come to my house that evening with her son, and she told me that, her dog was in the hospital, and I said, oh, sorry. It's a dog bite. It happens. It was on the street. No humans got hurt.
So you don't feel you're responsible?
I felt bad, but then she's like, you're going to pay $1,200 and all this. But on the street, her dog is in the neighborhood is very, always vicious. And I have control of my dog when I walk her.
Okay, that's great. But you weren't walking her. Your daughter was walking her.
But I wasn't walking her, no.
Right, and your daughter has just admitted to losing control because there's no other way this could happen. So, by the way, don't yell at her after the trial because it's very clear from the way this happened that the dog was dragging her. I know that.
Oh, yes,
so tell me then why you wouldn't be responsible for the damage. See, I see in your answer to the complaint a lot of stuff that, you don't want to hear about people ragging on pit bulls, and I don't. Pit bulls are pit bulls. They have a right to exist. We never punish the behavior of a pit bull. It's an animal. The animals behave the way animals behave. The smaller dog is acting like a smaller dog and being yappy, and then your dog is taking off. The dogs aren't doing anything that they're not supposed to do.
My dog was just
That's great, but that is not. I am not analyzing the behavior of your dog. I am analyzing the behavior of the person walking the dog, you see? So when you entrust someone to, and, accidents happen. What I can't believe is that you haven't paid for the damages, you see? Because if your dog is not within your control, legally speaking, what is your defense to paying for it? It's not, hey, stuff happens, tough for you, eat $1,200. Did you see the damage to this dog that your dog did? Because your daughter, God bless you, honey, was not in full control of the dog, and the dog was able to overpower your daughter and run 3 driveways over to attack this dog? How do you figure
This is the first time I saw the pictures of the dog. This is the first time I saw the pictures of Jasper.
Okay, let's put up a picture of Jasper, please. All right, what are you thinking now?
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad.
Welcome back to the People's Court. The question, which dog incited which dog and who is going to have to pay? Let's go back into the courtroom and find out.
Let me ask you, Ms. Stempel, the vet bills are a total of $1,200, and the rest of your lawsuit is another $1,200 for pain and suffering. Explain that.
The pain and suffering is just the experience that myself and Jasper went through. He didn't go outside, wouldn't go outside for a while. I don't think that clearly the pictures show that it was pretty traumatizing.
It was horrible.
But I don't think
Let me just say, I've been doing this for 21 years. Those are the worst pictures I've seen in a dog bite. This is a horrible event for everybody who witnessed this. I can't even imagine the 5- and 6-year-old girl who are watching this and adults screaming and, this is horrible. I am sorry that the aftermath was equally horrible. In your discussions with Mr. Frasca, did he ever offer to pay, or what did he say to you?
When my son and I went to his house that day, I said, my dog's in the hospital, and they said it's $1,200 right now. And he said, I'm not responsible for your effing dog.
Really?
And I said, but your dog did this. And he said, my dog's not vicious. Your dog's vicious. And I said, my dog barks. And then my son said to him, we can do this one of two ways. Either you can pay for the vet bill now, or we'll go take it to court. And he said, I'm not responsible for your effing dog. Get off my property.
Are you
and
serious?
I think I said to him,
Mr. Frasca, is she accurately describing the conversation that you're telling a woman whose dog is going through surgery and went through all this, that you're not responsible for her effing dog? Did you do that? Did you say that?
Because you're making this out to be that it's all my dog, because her dog is vicious, and you have not seen the encounters in the past.
Do you have any evidence that her dog is vicious?
I wish my sister was here and a few other people that would tell you.
Yeah, so do I. That's called evidence.
Acts.
So you having no evidence other than you don't like the sound of the dog's bark, and apparently your dog doesn't either. At the end of the day, I don't really care how that dog barks, and I don't really care how vicious a breed some people think pit bulls are. I don't care. I care about the behavior of the humans and what the humans do that is negligent. And the law says you must have the dog within your control. And if the dog is not within your control, and that's why this happens, then guess who's paying for the damages? I find against you in the amount of the vet bills, $1,200. I wish I could find for pain and suffering. I cannot, because these cases, even though we love our dogs like we love our children, or maybe less or more, you don't get pain and suffering because dogs are considered property. So what you get is the amount of money that you are out as a result of this occurring. So I am ruling in your favor in the amount of the $1,200, plus, of course, your court costs that you had to file in order to come to court and get your $1,200, plus, because you had to do it the hard way, plus prejudgment statutory interest from the moment of the vet bill being paid until today. That is my verdict. Verdict for the plaintiff.
Thank you.
So the plaintiff prevails in this case. She gets her court costs, of course, and the vet bills, which was $1,200. Mr. Frasca, let me ask you this. Having had this experience, are you doing anything different with your dog, making any kind of changes when you walk it or anything like that?
No, I'm in control when I walk my dog. I just don't let anybody else walk my dog anymore.
Ms. Temple, do you still walk your dog out on the streets?
Yes, I walk it on the street, but I avoid that dog at all costs.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I'd go in the opposite direction of where he lives, no question. Well, listen, congratulations, and I'm glad your pup is doing fine.
Doug, we've talked about this before. There is a leash law requiring people to control their dog. That usually means a 6-foot leash. Now, the word control is critical, because it's not just that the dog has to be on a leash, but the person holding the leash has to have control over the dog, to be able to hold the leash even if the dog is pulling, to make sure that the dog is pulled away if the dog is about to attack another dog. In this case, the dog was not properly controlled. The little girl let it go, and that's the problem, and that's the liability.
I was in a traffic accident in a roundabout. No witnesses. It's he said, she said. I asked her insurance company for a copy of the statement that she gave to them, and they won't give it to me. Can they do this?
Well, they don't have a contract with you. So
they don't work for you.
They don't work for you, so they can hang up the phone. The real question is, will you be able to get your mitts on it later? And the answer should be yes, because those documents have to be kept.
Right.
And if you end up having to sue her, then you could go to court, and through a discovery motion, you can ask the judge to order them to give it to you.
But you might not get it short of a lawsuit or engaging another insurance company
Well, you
against
won't
them.
even need it short of a lawsuit. I mean, you'd really need it if there was a lawsuit.
Right. And what is it about roundabouts that they're like accident factories?
They are.
And people don't follow the rules.
I know.
And it's not that hard.
We live we have a roundabout at the corner down the block from our house. We live in the cul-de-sac, and we have to go through that roundabout every day. And my philosophy is, everybody be my guest. When everybody's done, I'll go, because I don't want to find out that idiot doesn't realize that he's supposed to stop.
Right.
So I'm not going to bank on that he's going to stop. If I see him coming and he's coming 40 miles an hour, he's not going to plow into me because I'm not going to move. Right. But you have an alternative theory.
Mine? Quienes más macho?
Yes, your theory is quienes más macho,
That's so
even if the person they're going to plow into is me and not
true.
you.
I'm very polite. Look, here are the basic rules. Traffic inside the circle always has the right of way over people who are approaching, right? And if you have a four-way traffic circle, it's a four-way yield. It's just like a four-way stop. You don't get to hug the bumper of the car in front of you when he goes through and then just keep racing through in a big chain. That whole idea of these things is they're traffic calming devices. They're supposed to slow everything down.
And what happens is the people on the bigger street or avenue will think like, well, no, we are the big guns, so we just keep going and they have to wait. And that's not true because it's a four-way yield.
Every car has to yield. Right. And the basic rule when two cars arrive at the same time is first to arrive, first to drive.
That's going to do it for us now, and we will see you for the next session of the People's Court.